everybody. This is David from My Metal Today, and I'm here with Margarita Monet of the band Edge of Paradise. I actually got to see them last weekend at Hyperspace Metal Festival. They headlined day two, and I was going to try to interview the band then, but we didn't have the chance to connect then, and so Margarita has graciously offered her time to meet with me today. So, Margarita, why don't you introduce yourself and maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Margarita. I'm the singer of Edge of Paradise. I started the band with Dave Bates, our guitarist, who actually wasn't at the festival that day. Um, yeah, we started the band quite a while ago, and I've come from different backgrounds. Actually a piano player. So I grew up being, I thought I was going to be a concert pianist growing up. I was in theater, I did ballet, and then when I moved to Los Angeles, fate should have it, I joined a metal band, a rock band, cinematic rock band that we kind of morphed ourselves into. Yeah, and that's what I've been doing. I also do a lot of art. We have a graphic novel. But yeah, my whole life is Edge of Paradise at the moment.
No, that's really cool.
Mhm.
Had you ever done anything with metal prior to Edge of Paradise?
No, not at all. I actually discovered heavier music when I was in college, so kind of later on in my life. One of the first bands was Symphony X, which we got to tour with
Oh,
a year ago. Yeah, I was blown away because, coming from uh, classical piano and I heard the keyboard solos, I was like, what is that? So,
yeah.
yeah, I got into that. And I was into Korn and Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails, all that stuff. But when we started the band, my biggest inspiration was Dio. So I really loved, Black Sabbath and his solo stuff. So Ronnie James Dio was definitely my biggest inspiration.
Oh,
Yes.
wow, very cool, very cool. Speaking of Symphony X, I got to see them finally for the first time last year at Prague Power, and just
Mm-hmm.
fantastic show. Russell is such a good front man, and the band is just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're great.
Well, cool. Um, well, I'm curious about the name Edge of Paradise. So, like, how did you come up with that? What's the meaning behind that?
So when Dave and I were thinking of names, um, we wanted something to represent kind of the heavier side that he brings and the more melodic side that I bring. And also, we started the band in Los Angeles, and it's kind of, I don't say false paradise, but it could be. And life here is definitely on the edge. And if you fall off the edge, it's very hard to get back on. So we're kind of on the edge of paradise out here. So that
Oh,
was the
interesting.
inspiration. Hmm.
So really kind of rooted in kind of the reality of your situation and where you lived.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, very cool. I like that quite a bit. So kind of going from that, obviously your albums are kind of set in a very specific universe. You've got a lot of cool stuff going on. Like what inspired that?
Um, it was a natural sort of evolution because I've always been fascinated with science and the arts. So my father is a scientist, and my mom, when I was growing up in Moscow, she would teach at an arts academy. She taught English, and then I would take classes all day long while she was at work. So, and then, we would go to museums, all of that. So I really developed this love for the arts early on. And then, when we started the band, I think it was natural for me to start incorporating everything I loved into it.
Hmm.
And I think this concept that is underlying the albums now started with Universe. I think that's when we really found our sound. So when we released that in 2019, I think that's really when the band started and we went on our first European tour. But then COVID happened, so
Yes.
um, we wrote the album The Unknown, and that kind of became more of a defining moment for us because I think that album really solidified our sound, and then we just kept building on it. And that's also when I started incorporating a lot of art into the band. The music videos became more cinematic. I learned how to make the videos more hands on. So yeah, I think it's more of my love for all of this that's in the band I was able to incorporate.
No, that's very cool. So you mentioned the art, and I've always been fascinated by whether it be your paintings, your sculptures. You do a lot of just really cool stuff, and you may recall when I saw you in Seattle last year, I did buy one of your pieces, and
Thank you.
really enjoyed that. But I'm curious. So you obviously you mentioned that the art became a little bit more connected, but you know. It's really become, it's almost like it's a part of the fabric of the music now. Like you see it in the music videos, a lot of the visualization that you do.
Mhm.
Can you maybe like walk through that a little bit more? Like what inspires you to do that, and how do you come up with some of the art designs that you have?
Um, it's I don't know if I really have like, okay, I have this that inspires me. It's just in the moment whether it's the main thing is I have to be excited about and
Yeah.
the idea that I have. If I get excited about something, the idea is easy for me to, evolve it into something. Um, so my biggest fear is if I run out of ideas that inspire me. Um, but so far, I think when you live and every day is a little bit different, and just the world changes around you so fast, there's always something that you can find inspiration in. And it's also a matter of perspective too, because some things can be very depressing, especially today. It's such a crazy world we live in. It's changing very fast. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think the main thing is what I'm, the message I want to send, or what is going to be in the song. Or sometimes like I would make a painting and it would make me feel like, oh, maybe I haven't really thought about this. Maybe it's something interesting to talk about in a song.
Well, unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, the interview with Margarita got cut a little short. So we will be following it up with an interview with the full band very soon. Thank you so much, and go visit My Metal Today on YouTube, and please subscribe.